Hi everyone, it's Vanka. I have something very exciting to share today, and I'm doing this video as a VR for Angie, who is Itty Bitty Crafts here on YouTube, and she's having a challenge going on. And as her YouTube name says, Itty Bitty, she makes tiny things, and especially tiny houses. It's incredible what she makes. I will link her YouTube channel below so you can go and check her out. Very inspiring. She also does shabby chic projects, and she's a really sweet, talented girl, so check her out. Now she wants us to make her something tiny for her challenge, and I have made 3 things. This is one, and 2 of them are in this little box here. So Angie, if you are watching and don't want to ruin the surprise, you have to turn this off. I will just start with this, and as you see, it's a knitted tiny sweater. I don't think I have mentioned before that I have done a lot of knitting. Not so much now as before, but I came to think about these sweaters that I knitted when my girls were small. It fits a Barbie doll. Let's see how big it is. It's not quite 4, 3 3/4 long, and it's 2 1/4 wide. And I love knitting, and love also, if you have followed me, you know I love tiny things. So it's quite quick to knit this. The work is sewing everything together. That took an evening, but okay, it was fun. And this little pin here, it says wild at heart. It's just a pin that can be removed, and I think actually that came on some clothing. And this is also a tiny little pin with this handmade hand here. So that's my first item. And then I had this box. It was candy inside. It was gifted to me from a friend, and my 2 other items fit perfect in here. So let's just take out the first one. And of course, I love making journals, you know that, and this is so tiny. Oh my gosh. Let's measure. It's 1 3/8 by 1 3/8. The size, you know, the closure is just some satin ribbon that comes off completely because it has an alligator mouth. And this wooden piece here is what decided the size for me, because she loves tiny houses. And you see, this is a cancelled postage stamp, and these are tiny houses. They are called stabbur, and in the old days they were used on farms to store food, actually, and made out of wood. And this is wood, and these sparkly, I hope you can see, it sparkles. I just filled the gaps here with this diamond stickles. That's my favorite stickle. It sparkles so much, but I'm not sure the lighting catches it. So just one signature, and I have used a lot of this paper that Sabrina gave me in her Happy Mail. It was a 6x6. I have used well, it's a little bit over 4, you know, it has lots of words, little stories, images, both on front and back, letters, and I have used this in my little journal, so I will show you all the pages that are this craft colored. That's from that paper. So this is a stamp, of course, and here this tiny bunny is from that paper, and this is also her letter A. Oh my gosh, it's so tiny. This is something I fussy cut out of some paper. I have a tiny scrap left and a little pocket here. It's a book page, and this has a heart. You can take away the heart here and place it right back and inside, and this is backed onto some blueberry dyed paper. There is a tiny gold tag, and it has a key and a heart because Angie, she loves keys. So I have several keys for her in my projects. And this tiny sticker here is so cute. Rico gifted these to me, and I'm trying not to hoard, so I gave her one and attached this pretty blingy lace flower that Salena gifted to me. And I have some eco-dyed paper here, and you can see image of a pansy. This was from clothing, you know, me and my junk. Object, collector's item. So Object, I think that was the brand. And because she collects keys, that's it. And this is a tiny Tim Holtz paper clip, and this is just a piece of that paper folded in half because it has a story on it. So I just wrapped it sort of around the paper, and there is a story. And behind here is just a tiny cutout from the peon design paper. It has some buildings in there, so there is a theme. I would say the theme is houses. So this is a church stamp from Denmark, glued onto some handmade paper. This and everything is made out of scraps. So this was a scrap of paper that I had punched out the flower sort of, and this is another stamp with several buildings on it. This is a German stamp, fits perfect inside. Blank pages for journaling. This I folded like a pocket, and this is the number 2 because she's celebrating 2 years on YouTube. And then I have this teeny tiny little girl. It's a printable from Tim Holtz, scaled down, and another story here from the Sabrina paper. This is a quite big stamp that I folded in half. It has it's from a Norwegian town called Halden, and several buildings on there. And this says little nanny petticoat in a white petticoat and a red nose. The longer she stands, the shorter she grows. And this is printed onto glossy, no, it's photo paper, and it's a little girl It was a domino printable scaled down and a little vellum heart. Oh my gosh, it's so tiny. It's so cute. And some handmade paper. This is a sticker from Rico, but this is also from that paper. And here more scraps, this ribbon here, tiny little, I don't know what this is called, and there is this green stamps that Betty gifted me. Thank you, Betty, and I am sharing a couple of them. Perfect behind here, flips out, fussy cut from that sweet paper, and that's the other part of that stamp, and inside is an old Norwegian stamp of a very, very old church called Stavkirke, and most of they are built from wood. Many of them are burned down, so we don't have many left. And this, I made this sort of like a little clip, and this folds out, and it folds out to a little bag. Tiny little tag from some Tilda paper, and this sequins, a couple of angels, so cute. And then it just folds back, and this will keep this closed. And here more of that, no, there it is. This says my treasure. That's also from that paper, and this is one of my treasures because this lace is very, very old, and I cut it out of the dress my grandmother wore when she got married, and it was a lace trim from the skirt she wore under the dress. I don't know what you call that, and that's the pretty scrapbook paper I have had for years and years. It's so cute. And there is a flower from my garden, buttercup I think it's called, decoupaged onto there. This was a pin like the one I showed you here, but it broke, and it comes from I can't remember now, but when my girls were younger, every year, I don't know if you have that, every year in Norway there is a national, we go a lot, or people come to your door, collects money for organization, and you have these cups that you put your money in, and we used to volunteer. Me and my girls went and collected money, and then we had this pin. It's a symbol for the cause. Now I can't remember what it was, but we had that on our jacket. And this is some vellum, and inside, let's see, I love this tiny bling. It's so sparkly, and a heart onto this pin, Tim Holtz pin. And there's another building from Trondheim, the post office old building, and this says artistic little nanny. No, it's the same little rhyme that I read earlier, also from that paper from Sabrina. I loved it, and so fun to use that. And here we have a flip up. This is from Denmark, a building, and this flips up as well for journaling. So another flower from my garden. And this is also a postage stamp from Norway. It's a church, and a kid has drawn this, and you can see this is probably some kind of a Christmas edition stamps that have came out, and this is fun. I tell you a story about Mary Murray, and now my story's begun. I tell you another about her brother, and now my story's done. And this says handmade, also from that paper, and this is a stamp. I had to fold it to make it fit. But this is very traditional Norwegian, these waffles, so I will write something behind here. And then on the back, this came from a clothing, and it says made for you only. So only is the brand, and this says there's a time for all things, and I just crossed over the all and I wrote itty bitty things. So this was so fun, so fun. Oh my gosh, that's so fun making this. That's my second thing, and the third thing, oh my gosh, it's so tiny. A little jar, and it's filled with the random pieces, but you see I have 2 itty bitty houses and some itty bitty dice and some beads, and it's starting to get close to Halloween. There is an eye and some mirrors, some blings, and even some glow-in-the-dark bugs. Just for fun. And there is a teeny tiny stick pin, and we can take the cork off, and here on the cork it's a spool made from this. My gosh, let me measure. This is 1/2 inch, and I have not made any snippets before. This was really challenging, I will tell you. Oh my gosh, I even got a closure here, but it was really fun making this until it got a little bit worked a little bit against me, but it is what it is. So we will open this up. Let's see, unroll, unroll, unroll. Here we go. So I haven't glued this down in case she wants to use this little stick pin, but here is the tiny snippet roll. It says name. That's also from a clothing, and I have her name here with these letter charms, and I didn't have all her letters in the same charm, so it's a variation. And just some sequins, beads, blingy things, and what do you know, when I was finished sewing all of this together, knotting and cutting the thread, turning it over, this bling boop fold out of this clasp, and I had so much struggle getting that into place, and that is when things started to work against me. But so I hope these won't fall off. Most of them are sewn in place, and I had to go back and add a little dab of glue here and there. So here we have a tiny charm, and you know, just tiny offcuts of laces, and it says Angie. Oh my gosh. So here's a little sequence, a bead, small bling, and look at that tiny heart. And on the other side we have some tiny things. And this, oh my gosh, I should have brought that ribbon to show you, but I didn't. It's dyed with blueberry, and it was a trim, and it had XOXO, at least that is what I saw. So I cut out 2 parts so it looks like it says XO, but it doesn't say that. It's just the way it is. This is just a teeny tiny scrap from some lace, and here I have added these tiny bits so they are sort of dangling. Did I bring? Yes, that's from this trim, these tiny circles. And tiny heart also from that trim here. More sequins and beads, and there we go. This was so fun, but yeah, I think I worked on this 3-4 evenings. So but it's so fun making tiny things, and I really would like to make more, but there is a time for everything, right? So I will just wrap this up and get it in the mail for her. I hope you enjoyed watching. Let me know what you think, and go ahead and check out her channel. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.